Good morning, Trade Pros. Sound check 1 2 1 2. Morning, Mikey. Marco, good morning as well to you, sir. Hope you guys are all having a great day. Let's get started with today's morning market update. I think it's the 29th today. All day, probably, I'm assuming. Let's get into it. Sound check, sound check. Camera is on. Let's do this. Time to turn my back to you guys. I love you so much, and so I start the day by turning my back to you. 1 second, just trying to do some micro adjustments. That's good enough. This is good enough. Good morning. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day. I'm all hopped up on a whole bunch of medicine here. Ended up that I had bronchitis. And the first thing I remember, the doctor, when she told me, he's like, oh, you have bronchitis based on the chest x-ray. I said, bronchitis? Ain't nobody got time for that. She didn't laugh. I guess I'm not funny to everyone. But yeah, it's amazing. There's gonna be 4 different drugs, including like a nose spray, nasal steroid, and I don't know if you see, but I'm starting to get bigger. Chest starting to get more like these. But it's amazing. Drugs work. I'm rebounding pretty quickly. I feel great. I'm not coughing as much. So now I could deliver this morning market update to you with more energy. And futures across the board are up slightly. About 0.25% up all the way. Dollar index is kind of unchanged. Jap yen is down 0.1%. Euro USD is also unchanged. Rates 10-year yield at 4.25 hasn't moved. 2S10 curve is slightly steeper, making borrowing costs higher on the long side, which is fine. Commodities, gold's up 1.7%, near 5,600. Gold's just gone parabolic. It's just through the roof. Copper is up 6% at all-time high at 14,000 a ton. WTI is 2%. Brent is 1.8% higher. And it's a 4-month high. So everything is up. The only thing that couldn't join the up party is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down 1.4%. All right. This morning at 8:30, the big news was jobless claims. Well, jobless claims claimed to be less jobless people, 1.827 versus expectations of 1.860. So a little bit less, coming in lower. All right, the 4-week average was 206,000, but the headline number was 209,000 versus expected of 205. So you know what? It is, the headline is slightly higher, but the 4-week rolling average is slightly lower. So yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. Let's just call it as it is and move on with the morning market update. Jobless claims came in and, it's kind of par for the course. Yesterday's Fed decision was also par for the course. I'm pretty sure I talk about it here. Yeah, yesterday FOMC was a non-event. They held, they had 2 dovish dissenters that wanted rate cuts. They removed the statement downside risk to employment, which is a slightly hawkish tilt in the notes. And Powell said rates at higher end of natural range. So he's admitting they're slightly higher, but hawkish tone, but admitting rates are higher, which could be a dovish or a cutting stance coming up. Donald Trump wasted no time and said Powell is wasting a lot of time and should be cutting rates and costing the economy billions of dollars. Just this morning was the commentary, and the Fed did nothing. They did nothing, and they tried it to sound like they were going to do nothing, but had slight hawkish skew to it, but still rate cut expectations for the next meeting. So what's the big news here? Well, mega caps are kind of disconnecting from reality with their earnings. Some of them, it's a little strange this earnings season. For the first time in a long time. This mic, I just can't get in the right position, for goodness sake. I think this is it. All right, Microsoft down 6.4% despite a really big beat. Earnings per share came in $5.16 versus $3.92. That's a really big number, George. Revenue $81.3 billion versus $80.28 billion. That's a really big number, George. All right, here's a critical detail. 7.6 billion OpenAI gains are inflating the earnings per share. This circle, how do I say this? This circle jerk, let's just call it what it is. Don't look up what that means. Let's just, like, the circulation of capital going around, all right, marking up these companies, but the same money just circulating through is finally starting to kind of come out, and people are starting to take note of this. All right, the gains of OpenAI that are inflated the earnings per share for Microsoft by $1.02. All right, therefore, it would be a 4 14 earnings per share versus 392. All right, and that's, they still beat, but it's a smaller beat. And revenue beat, and it also was a smaller beat. And I think finally investors are catching on, and they're saying spending money on AI development is not enough. Show us the revenue. I think people have kind of woken up to this trade saying, show us the revenue. Expenditure doesn't create real term value. Expenditure is money out of my pocket as an investor. I'm giving you money and you're pissing it away and promising me returns. Show me the returns. It's that time, all right? And I'm glad it's that time because people can't lose their mind for long periods of time like this and expect markets to reward them, right? It got kind of comical, but I'm glad the tone has shifted. We're looking for the right information now. So on that, Azure's cloud revenue is up 39%. There was really good positive things in Microsoft, but overinflated valuation on the OpenAI front, and that's driving a lot of their earnings. So investors punish the company. Meta's up 7.5%. Super aggressive guidance. Meta's kind of caught on. Zucky's like, all right, this is interesting. We got to give them more than just how much we spend. We got to give them revenue. You know what's even better than revenue at the beginning stages is guidance. You're promising people bigger results, and then you have time to deliver it. Earnings per share, $8.88 on Meta, $8.19 expected. Record sales, $59.9 billion. Q1 revenue guidance went to $53.5 to $56.5 billion versus $51. That's a $5 billion increase in guidance. All right. The key difference from Microsoft is market is rewarding spending in AI, all right, with returns. They're looking for returns, and this higher guidance kind of is helping Meta. All right, what it all means for today? Well, NASDAQ is muted considering all this stuff. We have really strong upside in Meta. We have actually pretty good on Tesla as well. They're up 2%. They beat on the earnings per share and margins. Their annual revenue declined for the first time, all right. And their AI pivot is offsetting their auto weakness. So what does it all mean? Well, look, this is structural things for the long term. It's not going to impact today's market as much, but the way it does impact today's market is NASDAQ is up 0.3%, muted gains given the Meta's up 7.5%. All right. So it just kind of gives us a little bit of underlying caution. Like this whole AI thing, this whole overinvestment, people are starting to look at it with higher expectations than just who could outspend the next person, because hey, outspending doesn't guarantee revenue. All right, it's time for some money to start coming back into the account instead of writing checks left, right, and center. All right, so yeah, NASDAQ is a bit slower. Watch NASDAQ ES as for correlation drives. Today I think we're gonna have some good correlation opportunities on that trade. All right, and that's that. Let's turn around. Let's do some chart stuff before we spend too much time doing too many things. Morning, triangle trading floor. Morning, Marco. No time for bronchitis, right? Fake news on the doctor's part. Bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. Marco goes, be a man and stop vaping. Marco, it's been 4 days I haven't vaped, sir. I don't vape. I stopped. Before that, I had stopped since August. I had a 23-hour lonely drive by myself from Florida to Toronto. And this is when I got the stupid idea that I would pass the time by putting a pacifier in my mouth like I'm a child and bought a vape. But it's done now. That was a short-term disconnect, short-term opportunity. I'm no longer vaping, sir. That's stuff's disgusting. It's not for me. Right? I said that in the locker room yesterday. I had a hockey game late, and it's like at some point you just gotta be a man and stop and start smoking cigarettes. If you want to smoke cigarettes. One of my friends has a fiance that works in the ER and medical field, and she said that she's seeing a lot of negative impacts. She's like, this vaping stuff might actually be worse than cigarettes. I'm like, it makes sense. You're putting an electronic device in your mouth and inhaling the thing that comes out of it. Kind of weird. Anyway, look, let's when I get off topic, I could be funny, but sometimes it could be too much for some people, and not enough for others. So let's talk about the story. You guys know very often that we start the day by telling the story, and as we tell the story, the trading plan becomes very apparent. So here's the story. Yesterday we opened at 70.23 half, or a quarter rather. All right, I caught a long from here into that just bid upward, and it was from 22 to like 28 area. I got 4 to 5 points, 6 points on the top end of it. All right. And then things started to look not so good for the buyers, I'll be honest with you. And I started looking down. I'm like, look, we're going to get a little bit of a retest. The prior day high gets set at 70.31. Barely any advancement off the open. And then we start selling off. Okay, the first level that I looked for support was the 10. We hit it. We paused temporarily, then went to the 02, which if you guys remember, 02 yesterday was our flip zone, meaning above 02 we're bullish, below it was bearish. And it did exactly what a flip zone should do. It contained the price for the majority of the day. All right, and then the market kind of grinded to a halt waiting for the FOMC. The FOMC came out being a non-event. They weren't going to move rates. We knew that as expected. Powell managed to ride that line between not saying anything but saying too much, using a lot of words to say nothing. All right, and so we kind of held there until we got a bit of a rally into the day, and then sold off sharply down into the 77 quarter, which ends up being the prior day low, and it ends up being one of our big supports, and it was way below the flip zone. So if you look at this just structure wise, not trade timing, like look how well this flip zone worked. The price broke below it, consolidated, a couple touches of that flip zone, and we drove lower to the next support. So yesterday's plan worked pretty good. We rallied pretty sharply and set the closing price at 70.10 3/4. That's the prior day's cash close. And we finished the day net minus 12 points, which is the open down to the prior day cash close. All right, that's a 12-point drop on pretty weak volume, 1.19 million total. That ends a 5-day skid of consecutively lower volume. The volumes are like this if each one of these were the days. All right, well, this one would be higher. It's like this, 1, 2. I guess I could show it to you as well. And then we got a marginally stronger day. So, okay, volume's a little bit higher on the daily. It's not that much higher. Volumes are low in comparison to where we ended last year and where we started this year. So we huffed and we puffed and we just lost 12 points. So what happened overnight? Well, overnight starts to tell a little bit more of an exciting picture for us. Overnight is this. Sellers took us back down to form the overnight low at 85 3/4. Okay, so we rally a bit, then we come down to the overnight low. The overnight low is, however, above the prior day low of 77 1/4 by almost 10 points, but not quite, right? 9 points. So this is a good sign. The fact we didn't hit the prior day low and break below it is a good sign. So starting off bullish, and then the bid took over and took us to the overnight high of 70.29 half. All right, right here, you could see we rally up. We couldn't quite hit the prior day high, but we got pretty close to it. Then we pulled back. By the way, 70.29 is a really big gamma level. That's why we're having a hard time breaking it. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, volume 187,000 so far. Globex overnight session, not a lot, not a whole lot. We had some numbers this morning, but looks like we're opening right at the prior day cash close. The PDCC very close to it, 4 points off that level. And look, today's day, I hate to tell you this, despite me having a flip zone here at 70.10 3/4, to be 100% frank with you, I might do, now that I say all this, and this is why it's important to tell yourself the story. Now that I say all this, I don't know the flip zone makes sense there. I think it kind of makes sense here. I know it's all the way down there, and you're like, what are you going to buy this thing for 30 points as it's dropping? You know what? Yes. Yes, I am. Because I am going to stay bullish. See, a bit of a rock and a hard place here because I like the 10. Then you could sell it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have 2 flip zones. All right, because I'm indecisive a little bit this morning. I'll tell you why I'm indecisive, because volume's thin. All right, the overnight levels here, overnight highs below the prior day high, and the overnight lows above the prior day low, which tells you what? Tells you what about the day so far? Think about it. It's an inside day. We're trading within the range of yesterday. This is what we call fades Fady is one of our trading room moderators. Fady's graveyard. Why? Because there's a whole bunch of bodies laying around and you're in the middle of it all. You're like, if I go forward, there's a whole bunch of dead bodies. If I go backwards, there's a whole bunch of dead bodies. I'm kind of stuck right here, aren't I? And that's kind of where we are. We don't have any fresh price. Fresh price is the break of 31 or the break of 77 quarters. So trading anywhere within below the overnight high or above the overnight lows, you're trading in that sandwich of no fresh price. So inside day is exactly right. So because the inside day, it's kind of making me second guess the flip zone, but that's fine. Let's keep going because this is the trading plan. The market's getting a little volatile. You could see it around the top 29 evens, a lot of gamma exposure. Flip zone, let's make it 10 3/4. But let's just say that if you're short below the 10, it's not a structural long-term short till you clear this level down here. And in fact, even the 77, that opens up the downside a lot more. So let's remove this as being a flip zone. But let's just say below the 10, if you're shorting, you're still shorting in a bullish area. So keep it tight. That's where my concern comes from. All right, 10 3/4 the flip. Really, I even put in the notes. Should be 69.88 for a bullish above level. Instead, it's the middle of a consolidation. That's what I was getting to, the 10 3/4. I even put this concern in my notes. Really, it should be this. And if you see this as a range right here, then it's a bullish consolidation for an extension up at some point. Then this zone here isn't really get bearish and stay bearish. It's just, hey, we're going to get weak all the way down here. Let's buy that weakness potentially. All right, I hope I didn't confuse you there. Long trades I like today are the 70-18 area. We've broken below it. The 70-14, the 70-10 retest. This is kind of the last trade now that we've identified 70-10 as the flip. All right, targets up is 70-29. Really big gamma remains up there. And also 70-36, 70-50, which would be an all-time high. And then the rest would be following market by order. I'm looking at MBO right now. MBO activity, the next big level up is 70-30. You got 100 lots, 25 and 20 posted of the 222 total. So you got a lot of upside. MBO is mostly, the large orders are mostly to the upside, which indicates we could have a bullish day. All right, guys, that's what I got. Oh, last thing, stats for you. ES call wall at 70-30. Also, we have the gamma level currently at 70-30. Notional gamma on SPX, the index options, is 476 million. That's a lot. That means we're going to sell. That means dealers are going to sell into rallies. All right, they're going to sell futures to hedge their gamma exposure, and they're going to buy into dips, which has a suppression and stabilizing force. Hi, buddy. The camera's right behind you. Oh, wait, the camera's in front of you. The one behind you I moved. Look, want to say hi? Hey, come here. Isaiah said he wanted to open up a YouTube channel. He wanted to start a YouTube channel. What is this? Is it crystal? Love you, bud. All right, so dealers are going to sell into rallies, buy into dips, has a neutralizing force. 476 million is a really big gamma, which could mean range bound today. All right, choppy price action, reduced realized volatility, and harder for breakouts to stick. So keep that in mind. And it makes sense considering it's an inside day, and it also makes sense considering our flip zone's the middle of this range, and it also makes sense considering we're in a range. Love you guys so much. Yeah, RDJXYZ trades. There is a video on gamma. Look at the shorts on our YouTube channel. I do a little explanation there. And then I'm going to do one as a video for you, hopefully for this Sunday. I'm going to record it today after the trading room. I'm going to show you how to get gamma yourself off of options chains. I'm going to show you also how to get it off of a service called Spot Gamma, when you should use either and the other, and the differences, and whether it's worth investing in something you could get yourself. So that's going to be a video coming out this weekend, ironically. So yeah, I'm working on that. There's a lot of questions. Marie, remember him? He was a little baby. See, somebody remembers you as a baby. Now look at him. Look, this is an old boy. What are you doing? You putting the gorilla in the crystal? But what if he wakes up? All right, guys. Love y'all. You guys have a great day. Say bye, Zizi.
Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, you're so cute. Later, guys. Have a great trading day. Manage that risk. Trade like a trade pro. You guys know the plan. Expect a little bit of chop, a lot of gamma exposure, just price structure of where we're at. Let's see what we actually get. Remember, just manage that risk, trade like a trade pro, and keep the risk tight. Don't overextend today. It could be a washed out range day, but we still have, luckily, some upside and downside to set up for the trades. All right, you guys, take care. He's seven. He's 5. He's gonna turn 6 in a little bit.
I'm 5.5, silly.
You're 5.5. He goes, I'm 5.5, silly. Oh, sorry, buddy.
I'm not just 5. I'm 5.5.
Yeah. I have socks older than you. Do you know that? Say that. Ooh, that's not a good thing, Daddy. You should wash those socks. All right. Ooh. All right. See you guys. Have a great day. I love this kid. I love you guys. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.